Hi and welcome to the channel. In this episode, work continues on the 1978 Corvette Pacecar as I endeavour to prepare it for being made legal here on New Zealand roads. I've set myself a deadline, I'm wearing jandals, I'm good to go. Stay tuned and find out if I can make it. Okay, well I'm needing some bit of lumber or timber for the next job that's coming up in the Corvette, and I dug this thing out of the garage, and this is a little contraption I came up with during the COVID lockdown, as a lot of folk did, you know, through pure boredom. Came up with a little task we could do, and so this is a little sled that I built to slide down a hill on. And so all it consists of is an old scooter handle and some skateboard wheels that we came off an old board that we had, and then I just rigged it up with a little pivot point here and some brackets. The idea being that you sit here, oh, it's so dodgy, you sit here on that like this, oh, you sit here like this, get back a bit maybe, and then when you lift this up, it takes you off the ground and you can, as you can see, start rolling, perfectly going forward. So it was a bit of fun. It doesn't turn very well but it's good for a straight line, and thankfully it didn't result in any broken bums or bones. But anyway, I need this bit of wood for the next job coming up, so time for this to come apart and be recycled again. As you can see, very robust. I don't know where I came up with the name Low Tech. Just random. Alright, and I'll show you what I'm planning with this. Okay, so what I'm doing here is tackling the replacement of the body mounts, and you've heard me talk about this. There's 4 down each side, and I have to physically lift the body off the chassis rail to get them out and replace them. And so the way to do that is simply by lifting the body at this point here. So this is the body, and obviously this is the chassis. So this part, once it's all released, will go up. And so this here is basically about a 1/4 inch thick, where these 2 bits of fiberglass are sandwiched together. And so what I need to do is be able to push this up safely from this point. And so that's what I need that bit of 8x2 for. And so my plan for this, I've seen some folks just putting this directly underneath that part there and just jacking straight up, and that just seems just a little bit dodgy to me. So my way of making it just a little bit safer is I'm going to get my skill saw out and rip a channel down the middle here all the way through, just wide enough that it'll slip over this part here, and not deep enough that it'll bottom out here, but it'll just, this part here will rest in the bottom of the channel here. So it's pushing up, this part here is resting inside the channel, and it'll lift from that point there. That should stop it from wanting to do this sort of thing when I'm jacking on it. It should keep it fairly secure on the body, and I'll probably have a jack at each end of this bit of timber so that it jacks up, you know, evenly. We'll just have to see how it goes. It may jack up just from the centre, for I can get the centre point balance, you know, right. We'll just to see how that goes. So anyway, that's my plan. I'll get my skill saw out and I'll set it up to the right depth. Do a couple cuts through here to get the channel wide enough, and then see how it fits. Going to end up with about, I don't know, probably about a 10mm channel, 3/8 of an inch, somewhere around there, right down the guts, and about 20mm deep. Like so. Got my skill saw set to 20mm deep. Let's get into this. And get a screwdriver. So I can just break off that remaining bit of stuff here. And that should be good. I'll just turn around and finish off this last section here because I want to make this as long as possible, I think. I did have thoughts of just chopping it off through here, but I think I'll just spin it around and do the other end real quick. Okay. See how that looks. So I just need to widen it just a touch at the two ends here because there's a slightly thicker portion of fiberglass, I guess. The body seam is slightly wider right at these two ends, so I'm just going to open that throat up just a little bit and it should be good to go. See how that goes. So what I've done is just open it up just a little bit here and here, and just to give it a little bit of clearance that it needs, I think. Let me just go try that and I'll bring you in and show you. Okay, so here's my piece of wood that I've channeled out, and so let's see if I can do this one-handed because I can't get the tripod this low. There it is in place. I'm just doing this temporarily to show you, so you can see it's sitting up in place, and you can see it's just bottom out on that channel there, hopefully, but obviously well clear of the the painted body that I don't want to damage. And so that sits in there like so. And you can see also that from the bottom of the chassis to the bottom of the block of wood here is about 4 inches, a good 4 inches actually, a little bit more. And so that will give me that much lift basically. So I can put the jack underneath here and it'll go all the way up and lift it. You know, that much lift is what I can get out of this block of wood, which should be enough that I can pull the bolts out and replace those body mounts. Alright, so now I'm at the stage where I can get the car jacked up and the actual stands underneath the 2 jacking points, get the wheels off, and from there it's a matter of releasing all those body mounts and earth straps and bits and pieces that have got to be released. And that stage I can start jacking it up. So I've got a little bit of work to do here. I'll show you any crucial steps and any hiccups, and we'll see how we go today. Well, good morning. Here we are again. A new day. I had to give up last night due to low light, but back out here again nice and early this morning. Seems like finally the cicadas have quit for the season, so things are cooling down. So anyway, we're out here carrying on. As you can see, I've got the car up, and I was able to get 3 of the body mounts bolts out successfully. A couple of scary moments, wondering if they're going to break off the nut. The 3 front ones came out no problem at all. You can see the amount of debris I've got on the floor here. So here's the front one, and this is why I'm replacing these. As you can see, definitely done their day. And that's the washer underneath. Now these are supposed to have shims somewhere, and I think what you're looking at there is maybe the remains of a shim on top of that washer. I'm not quite sure, because I don't see any shims in any of these bushes at this stage, so I don't know if I need to put any back again or not. So that's the front one. This is the next one back. So again, this is just the top one. It's the one underneath that's going to be the most damaged looking one. So these ones don't take a lot of weight, they sit on top basically. But they came out cleanly. The one in front of the back wheel comes out through this hole here. There's the bottom half still sticking up through the body and chassis rail there. And there's the top sitting down there. Again, the top's not in bad shape. It's the one underneath that gets damaged that takes all the weight. But it's the dreaded rear one that I've read about, that's given me issues. And so there it is there. And I probably didn't soak down the top of the thread or the bolt as well as I should have done before I started undoing this. And sure enough, when I've put some torque on this bolt, it has sheared off the top nut that's inside the cage, up inside the car there, which I'll show you in a second. But I don't know, it's if I was being critical, I'd say it's probably just not a very good system. It was probably never going to last very long. I'll show you down here actually what it looks like, or part of it looks like. So this is the little bracket that sits up on top and mounts to the body. It gets riveted to the body through those 2 holes there. It's a little bit bent up because I had to pry it off. I was able to get a drill onto the front rivet and get that released, and then pry it up from there and take it off the top of the bolt. So that wasn't too bad of a job. But underneath this is where the captive nut gets welded to, and as you can see, there's no weld on there. I assume I'll see something on the nut when I finally get that out, but there's just a square nut that sits up in there. It's about 1 inch square, and so it sits up in there, but it's obviously smaller than this square box section you can see here, because it just, once it came loose, it just started spinning around inside that little cage. So at that stage I knew I was heading down a path I didn't really want to, but that's what it is. So like I say, not the most robust system in the world, in my opinion. So I'm going to be replacing that, and I'm going to be just replacing that top nut on top, which again I'll show you in a minute, with a larger square plate that will spread the load a lot better, and probably just put a lock nut on top instead of having this whole dealio. And so this is what it looks like inside the rear of the car. There's the bolt sticking up through the floor, and there's the square nut sitting on top there. And at the moment, when I try to undo that, it's just spinning around and around and around, and so it's pretty well stuck right now. I soaked it down last night with some CRC 556. I'm not sure it's going to do the trick. I think I'm going to run down the road and try and find a specialised oil, penetrating oil, before I try and tackle that again. But at least I can get a spanner on this now to hold it while I get underneath and try and undo it. So I'll probably squeak that down again today, and then see if it'll come free. If not, then I'll have to get a bit more extreme with it. But as you can see, there's a decent sized space in here for a bigger plate. So as mentioned, I'm going to try and pick up a bit of square pre-drilled plate, which I'm pretty sure I've seen down on the shelf at the hardware store, which will sit in over top of that bolt once that nut's out the way. And then I'll put a lock nut on top, and that will spread the load better than that little 1-inch square nut that you can see there. So that's my process. I'll get that off, give it a bit of a clean up in here, and put a new plate in. So once I get that last bolt out, then I'll go ahead and disconnect the rest of the things I need to disconnect, which is going to be, I think, the rear bumper and the front bumper, a couple of earth straps, and I should be able to then lift the body up on this side. I'm probably going to do my steering rack as well, just disconnect that, because I want to replace the coupler anyway, so I'll go ahead and get that done at the same time. So I'll come back and show you at that stage how we're looking. Just back in here, I mean, it's not a terribly difficult job. They all, you know, as long as the bolts come out cleanly, I don't see this being a big deal. Okay, so I'm up underneath the car at the back, and I've decided I need to release the bumper from the car, because you can see here's where the bumper connects, and it attaches to the chassis rail here, and you can see a bolt there and a bolt there, and there should be one up there. There should be 4 holding this on, but that one's missing, that one's loose, and I suspect these ones, 2 on this side, are going to be loose as well. I don't think they are. Probably checked when this car was painted, or I think they probably had this bumper off at some stage. Anyway, I'm going to take those remaining bolts out so that this is separate, so that when the body lifts up, the chassis stays in place, but the body and the bumper go up. It's not going to just tear the bumper off the car when I go ahead and lift it, because it's still attached to the chassis. And then obviously if I take over here, should be able to see the same thing over here. So there it is there, and again you can see the 2 nuts are missing off this side. You can see the one there. So there's 2 on the outside, but the 2 inside ones are completely missing, so I'll need to put a couple of new nuts and bolts in there when I come to put this back together. But anyway, I'm going to release those now, and then back over here, this air strap connection will come off, and I think there's a couple around those around the place. There's one for the battery that comes through the floor, so I'll do that one as well, and that should get me pretty close to being able to at least separate the back end here, and then I'll just look at the front end. Okay, well, just to show you what's happened here, I fought with this rear mount for quite a while. Yeah, I even had the wife up in the car holding the spanner on top of the square nut up there to try and see if we could break it free, but it just wouldn't come loose. I squirted it down overnight with penetrant. I went and got some better penetrant, I thought, this morning, and sprayed it down again, and it was just not going to budge. So the decision was made to go to this. Yep, Sawzall took care of it in about a minute flat, and this is how it looks out of the car. Sorry, a bit of sunshine here, I'll move it over here, maybe you can see better. Yeah, so there's the offending bolt, and there's a nut on top that we're trying to break free. But man, it is on there really good. So there's nothing for it. Cut the head off the bolt, and away we go. And this is what the bush looks like. So here's the washer that was underneath it, that sits there, I guess, or on the other side, whatever it was, maybe there. And so this is the reason I'm replacing them, of course. So this is what all the bottom ones are going to look like. Again, the top ones aren't as in bad shape because they don't take as much weight. It's the bottom ones that really, well, in my opinion, take a lot of the weight. However, they are going to get replaced regardless of their condition, because I've got the replacements. So now that I've got that off, I can now release any bits and pieces on the front end, which I'll show you what I need to do, I think. So turn you around. So this is what my steering coupling looks like. As you can see, not very pretty, and I would suggest it's probably never been replaced, or if it has, it was a long time ago. So if I can reach down in here, you can see the rubber coupling in here. It's absolutely knackered. So I have a replacement rubber coupling. So I'm going to try and get this whole assembly off and clean it up and replace that coupling. And obviously I'll do that while I've got the car jacked up, because I really think I need to release this to jack the car up. What I need to get those body mounts out. So I'm going to do that next. And here is the most forward body mount that I was able to get the nut off successfully for this one. So again, same sort of condition. I've just got to now try and push that bolt up through the housing, through the hole, through the chassis, and pop it out. Take the rubbers out and replace them. I need to release this earth straps here so that the body can move up, I believe. And then I think I need to release those 3 bolts there that hold the front bumper on. So again, that the body can move up with the bumper attached, and just slide up on those fittings there once they're released. Alright, I'll get that done, and then I think I'm going to be pretty close to be able to jack this car up, and I'll show you that process. Okay, so here's another shot of the steering coupling, and as I've said, it's well, as you can see, it's just in terrible condition, and to the point of being unsafe. Of course, I need to replace it, so I'm just going to give it a spray with some oil penetrant. I'm hoping that I can just undo these bolts here, and another one down here, and it will slide up the shaft enough to get it off the steering box is the plan, or it'll come apart in 2 halves. Don't know, I'm just going to shoot it with the penetrant and let's do its thing, and then try and break these free. Because I do have another coupling to replace it with. So okay, I'll get a little squirt from the top as well, and it'll stop me drowning in this stuff. And then see if I can get a spinner on some of these. Alright, so here's the steering coupling removed. It was a bit of a fight, and you can sort of see why. It was just I don't know, this may not have been off since new. Looking at the state of this rag joint, it looks like that could be fun. And then again, this one will just get acid dipped and rust treated, painted, and ready to go back on again. I'll just show you underneath the car what it looks like. So there's the end of the steering box. So that's what I had to try and get off. You can see it's a little bit rusty. And then the other end is of coming off the steering column is same sort of condition. So these will need cleaning up really well and treating, rust proofing, and by that I mean I'll probably just wire brush them as good as I can, and then coat them with some, I think probably some copper compound just to keep them rust free, and let the joint go back together cleanly, easily. Anyway, it wasn't too much of a battle. I did have to release just the 3 bolts that hold the steering box on, and that allowed that to swing out the way so I could drop it off the end of the column. So that's the process, and like I say, now it's just a matter of switching out that rag joint. I'll also need to release this brake, what do you call it? I forget what you call these, but anyway, this whole housing needs to come away from the chassis. So again, when the body lifts up with the master cylinder on it and booster, it's not going to tear those brake lines away. So this will just move up with the body, hopefully, once I release those couple of bolts there. Alright, moving on. Alright, so here's how we sit. As you can see, I've got the body jacked up and a couple of axle stands under that piece of wood there, just as a bit of safety. And I've just jacked it up enough that I can get those bushes out. So if I take you under here, see there's that bushing there, so you can see how I've got a big space there now between that chassis and the mount. So right here and here I've got about a 2-inch gap, so that means that I can now force these bushes out and slide the new ones on top, and then the other one goes in from underneath. So I've only got it up about an inch or two, well, only about an inch off the top of the bushing, as you can see there, you know. So I'm hoping that's enough. I can just slip these out and put the new ones in. And I'll show you the back as well. Okay, so there's the back mount. As you can see, probably not quite an inch clearance, but I should be able to just need to get a screwdriver now, force it up out of there, and put the new ones in. And then these ones down here I just got to get into as well. I'm not quite sure how I'll get to those ones yet. Oh, there it is there, isn't it? So again, I've just got to get in here and carefully pry those ones out and put the new ones in. Alright, let's see how we go. So there's that back bushing out. As you can see, the steel's all in good shape around here, so there's no concerns there. I will just give this a bit of a degrease and spray a little bit of underseal around here just to keep that corrosion free. And here's the old bush from out of there, which again just had to pry out of that hole there. And so now I can just prep this for the new one. Okay, so here we are again, just to highlight why I'm doing this job. This is the most forward bush or body mount. So just in the wheel well, the rear of the wheel well. So I'm actually pretty thankful this one came out without busting, because that is the state of the bolt. As you can see, before much longer, that would have been in a condition where I just wouldn't be able to undo it or get it out. It would probably break or get stuck, I don't know. But it's done its day. That is a 45-year-old bolt, no mistake. And again, the bushings are, as mentioned, same sort of thing, just had their day. So I've got a whole bunch of new ones here to go in. Here's my box of new bushings and shims. So it turns out there were shims only on the 2 centre mounts, and I think there was 4 shims in each one. I'll double check them, but I've got new shims here to go in, so I'll put those in, and the same amount of shims, new body mounts of course, and I'm good to go. I've sprayed some underseal up around here just to protect the area. Where are we? Here we go. So there's that mount there, so you can see I've cleaned it and sprayed some of that around just to protect that metal surface again. And I'll just give it a few minutes to dry, and I'll put all these new mounts in. And again, I guess just to highlight, you know, the difference, the amount I've lifted this up. I've heard you have to lift them like 4 to 6 inches, but this is 2 inches, maybe fractionally more. I've lifted this up just to get these body mounts out, so you don't have to get too carried away with these things if you're looking to do this job. It's not that big a deal. Again, release the things I've shown you I've released. There's nothing else that I haven't mentioned that you have to do, and you're good to go. Just safety first, of course. You know, just watch your fingers. Put a block of wood in there temporarily, you know, while you're working or anything, cleaning or anything like that. Don't risk having this body come down and jam your fingers in between there, because if you're by yourself, you're going to be there for a while. Okay, I'll get back to it. Just a little side note. As you can see, I pulled out the 3 bumper brackets here because I thought I needed to, but I think probably because I've had to jack this body up so little from the chassis, there's been very little effect on this that I can see. The sitting in the same place as where it was when I started jacking it. And maybe that's because I've only jacked it up, you know, an inch and a half, I suppose, above the top of the bushing. So do it as a safety or as a precaution, but it's barely necessary if you lift it up just the minimal amount that you need to get those bushes out. Alright, carry on here then. Okay, so I've got all 4 body mounts, top mounts sitting in place, pushed up into the body locations, just sort of hanging in place, ready for shimmings and the bottom bush and then the bolts going through. So in pretty good shape here at the moment. I am now just going through and doing the shims. So I'm putting the same amount of shims that have come out. So here's the old shims, and I'm currently doing number 2 bushing. Number 1 and number 4 didn't have any bushings in them at all. Only 2 and 3 both had 5 bushings in them. So I'm putting that many back in again, and I'm putting the new ones in that came in with the kit. And my little way of putting those in so they stay together as I put them in is I'm going to use some grease. I've seen some people use silicone, but I'm going to use grease and just put a layer around, cover the whole surface with it, and then put one on top of that, push it on. Okay, well that's it. I've got all 4 body mounts in place between the body and the chassis. I've got these 2 bolts going through and nipped up, which go down from the top. And now I've just got number 1 and number 4 that go up from the bottom. That one goes up there with a nut on top, and this one will now do the same because I've lost that captive nut. That'll just get a large washer on top. In fact, I'll show you what I'm doing there. Went down the road and picked up a couple of these. They are a couple of 50mm or 2-inch stainless steel by 1/8 or 3mm plate, and so they will sit on top inside where that square nut I showed you was, and replace that. So basically twice the size of that square nut, so it will spread the load fine. And then it will get the bolt up from the top, and it's a nut on top. One of these ones that comes with the kit. It's got the serrated edge on the bottom for gripping. So that'll sit on top of there, and that'll clamp up nicely. So let's get rid of this jack and carry on. Ready to do the other side. Okay, well, things have progressed in the last week or so. I've now done the passenger side body mounts, and you can see I've still got it jacked up. I've just been under sealing the underside where I could get to here, and tighten everything up. I've gone and installed the panel there that closes up that hole. That's all bolted in, and I've been, you can see, undersealing as I go, making everything nice and new again. And from here I am going to install the trim, stainless trim that goes down the side here. And then I'm about done on this side for now. I can put the wheels back on and drop the side back down on the ground, and then do the same process on the other side. So as you can see, everything's looking pretty nice underneath here now, nice and clean and tidy, and slowly but surely getting rid of all that surface rust that's been building up over the years here. So really happy with how things are looking here now. I'll get this trim on down the side here and move on. Just to show you what that looks like. So here's the trim that comes off the side. It goes up that way, and it has 6 bolts that go through that black strip there. You can see one of the holes there. So that needs to be bolted back on. It turns out that some of the hardware was mismatched. There was some of the original bolts that go through and some newer metric ones that have been put in as well. So I've been down to the hardware store and picked up some more hardware, and now I've got matching screws, and I'll put new nuts and bolts, nuts and washers through. So it all matches. As you can see, I've painted the heads satin black, so when they go through here, they'll sit in there and won't be as obvious. I've had those in the oven baking, so they're good to go. And I'm having to do that more often now, actually bake the stuff in the oven, because it's getting cold outside. We're definitely into autumn, and so drying times are pretty stretched right now. So I've got a solution of that coming up in the future as well to help me get things done faster, which I'll show you in a video coming up soon. Alright, that's one side done. Do the other side now, and well, actually I won't do the other side now. I think I'll get the wheels on and drop this side down, and then go to the other side, because I am done on this side. Actually, before I go, I might just show you what else I've done here in the back end. Okay, so you would have heard me talk, if you'd been watching an earlier video, about the bushings needed replacing in the back here. And so as you can see, I've put new spring hanger bushes in, and bolts and hardware. And also new sway bar bushes. One there, and one up there. So they're now done, and I've been just going around undersealing. You can see I've still got a little bit more to do. It's amazing what this shows up on camera. But I'll spray a bit more underseal around here and get this looking nice and pretty. But yeah, overall though, much improved back here, and every little bit helps with the ride and the feel of the car. So I say that's the back end done. The only thing I've still got to do back here is these links here. So again, you can see these bushes here are well shot, so I've got bushes to replace there and on the inboard side, and I'll be pulling that rod off completely, getting those bushes out. I'm not sure if I can do that myself or not. I might have to take it somewhere to get those pushed out. Put new bushes in, paint up the hardware, make it all look nice and pretty again, and that's the back end done, apart from that horrible exhaust pipe. But again, that'll get dealt to, don't worry. Alright, put these wheels back on. I'm yet to still do upper and lower ball joints on the front here, so these will just go on with a couple of nuts to hold these wheels on for now, and I'll drop this side down and get the other side to the same stage. Tomorrow probably now I've got to put the steering coupler back in, and then I can put the other side down on the ground as well. And I'm pretty much at the same stage right around the car. Then it just leaves ball joints front and back. Ball joints left and right. Upper and lower bushings to the upper and lower arms. And then on the back, just those, I think they're tie rod bushes to do. And at that stage I'm getting pretty close to being done with all the joints and bushings that I need to do around this car at this stage, until I'm told otherwise. But I believe at that stage I will have gotten probably 90% of all the bushes done, and hopefully that will see me go through my inspection clearly. But obviously if there's something I missed, then I'll deal with that. But it's feeling good, looking good. Definitely much improved, and feels nice getting all these bushings switched out for new ones. So let's get these wheels on, get the side dropped down, and then move over to the other side. There we go. Okay. You can see a little bit push for room around here. I need to have a tidy up around here. And down we go. Okay, move on to the other side. Okay, so here I am. I'm ready to move on to the driver's side to start wrapping up the work I've done here. And the main thing I need to get done here is reinstall the steering coupler. but I'm needing to go pick up a couple of 3/8 inch bolts to finish that job off, so I can't do that until tomorrow, so I can't quite finish underneath there and through here. So once the shop's open again tomorrow, I can get stuck back into this. So that's where I'm at the moment. Just waiting for the shops to open again so I can finish off the steering coupler and keep moving on. From there, I am looking to do upper and lower ball joints as mentioned, and I expect I'm going to be doing bleeding the brakes as well, because they are soft. So this had some little bit of brake work done before it left the States, just when it got pulled out of the shed or the garage over there, and so the brakes are a little bit soft, so I'm pretty sure I've got some air in the lines which needs bleeding out. So once I pull the front end apart to do the ball joints and bushes, I've also got to finish off rear end tie rods, bushes, and I've also ordered a couple of new brake lines for the back, because again they look like they're the original brake lines on the back, so I'm going to switch those out, get new brake lines on, get it all reassembled, bleed the brakes, and hopefully that takes care of my soft brake issue. So a few things that are sort of working in together here, and they'll should see the car getting pretty close to being completed, ready for its inspection. I'm getting well through my list of jobs to do for the car as far as the underside is concerned. I'm probably going to end up replacing 80 to 90% of the rubber bushes on this car, simply because they are so badly worn. And so from that point on, once they're done, unless there's something I've missed, obviously, that the certification guy or the inspection person will point out to me, hopefully this car is in pretty good shape for getting its inspection done, and then warrant of fitness and so forth. So, as a little side note, for you guys outside of New Zealand, I have mentioned before in previous videos, which you may not have seen, but we have a pretty stringent system here in New Zealand for keeping the cars up to a satisfactory road standard. And so for older cars, older than the year 2000, they've got to go through a check every 6 months to be checked over and see if there's anything worn that needs replacing or that's not working properly. And if it does need doing, then you've got to do it before you can get a warrant of fitness and be made legal for the road again. So again, that's every 6 months. So that's pretty often for these old girls. And if you keep your maintenance up on your car, then it's not that big a deal. Generally, you don't have any issues, but there's probably always something, whether it's just, windshield wipers not working properly or whatever. But everything that these cars, or anything that a car has from the factory, has to be working. So that's why I'm going through everything on this car and making sure it is up to scratch. And there has been quite a list on this car, but that's just because there's different standards in different countries, and over here in New Zealand the standards are pretty high. So I say I'll probably do a little bit of a summary of what I've done on this car near the end, but for now that's just a bit of a rundown, try and explain what I'm doing. And so hopefully from there I'll be able to get it ready for being made legal here in New Zealand, to be registered, warranted, insured, all that stuff. So I'll carry on. Tomorrow's a new day. I will get that steering coupler in tomorrow and start closing out the underside here. And then I'm just really looking forward to getting onto those ball joints. Not. Okay. Where to? Well, that's the end of this episode. We're making good progress here on the Corvette though. Still lots to do, so make sure you come and check out the channel next time and see what I'm up to. Thanks for watching.